So you're thinking about buying a home in Palm Beach County. One of the most confusing aspects of homeownership are property taxes. Even with similar values, you may pay more than your neighbor, and the rates can vary a great deal from one city to the next. Today, I'm going to break down how property taxes are determined here in Palm Beach County and how to avoid sticker shock when you buy your next home. Stick around to the end to hear 3 tips to ensure you make a smart decision on how not to overpay on your real estate taxes. If this is your first time on the channel, I'm Chris Dyer, and I'm the broker and owner of Ebstone Realty, right here in Palm Beach County, Florida. Be sure to subscribe, tap that bell, so that you'll be the first to know about Florida real estate insights, market knowledge, community tours, and relocation tips. What are 3 key questions that I get from buyers when buying a home in Palm Beach County? The first question is, why are Palm Beach County taxes so high? Well, we're going to answer that. The second question, how do we calculate what the property taxes will be in our first year of ownership? And the last one is, how can I save money on my property taxes? So we're going to talk about that as well. So let's go with question number 1. Why are property taxes so high in Palm Beach County? First thing is home prices have risen substantially over the last handful of years. The more your home is worth, very simply, the more you pay in real estate taxes. Can't put it any easier than that. Second thing is, in the state of Florida, we don't have an income tax. We just don't have one. So the counties and municipalities rely heavily on the property taxes to balance the budget, paying for things like schools, police, firefighters, infrastructure. That's where all that stuff comes from. And the last one is, with all the new construction we have what's called CDD fees, better known as Community Development Districts. So in new construction communities, the builders of these communities are tacking on top of the property taxes these CDD fees. They are disclosed, but they can add a substantial amount to your property taxes, and they run with the property anywhere from 20 to 30 years of home ownership. Question number 2, how are property taxes calculated? So hang with me here. For those who are analytical, you'll like this. For those who are not, wait for the example. It'll make more sense then. So property taxes in Palm Beach County, Florida are based on the property's assessed value. The Palm Beach County property appraiser is responsible for assessing the value of properties as of January 1st of that year. Okay, so technically, your property actually has 3 values: market value, assessed value, and taxable value. And then there's also this thing called a millage rate. So let's define these and help you understand what they are. And then we'll do an example for you about how they all fit in together so you can see how property taxes work. So the just value is really what the property's market value is. So these are interchangeable terms: just value, market value. And this is determined not by a person, but by a system called CAMA, C-A-M-A. CAMA stands for Computer Assisted Mass Appraisal System. A lot of property appraisers around the country use this. This is a software that basically is running an algorithm with big data to figure out homes and communities and kind of bring all that stuff together for a value. So that's market value. The assessed value is the market value minus any assessment limitations. So you may say, well, what's an assessment limitation? So an assessment limitation might be if you've owned a property and you've homesteaded it, a limitation might be the growth in that assessed value, right? It's now worth more, but you've been capped at 3% per year, or if you're not homesteading, 10% per year. Now we have the taxable value. The taxable value is the assessed value minus exemptions, and is the value the tax collector uses to calculate taxes. Okay? The last one would be tax rates. So once you have your taxable value, you then have to have a tax rate to then determine your property taxes on your property. So tax rates are expressed in what is called mills. 1 mill or millage, 1 mill is equal for $1 for every $1,000 of taxable value. Hopefully you're still with me. I haven't kind of like bored you to death yet. But the millage rate is what is multiplied by the taxable value. Okay, that's how you determine the property taxes. So let's do an example. So I'm glad you hung with me. Let's do the example, and I think you'll track it with me here. So for example, let's say a home's value is assessed, okay, at 700,000, and you're eligible in Palm Beach County to homestead your property. So when you homestead, you get $50,000 off that assessed value. Okay, so that basically is 700,000 assessed. The exemption is applied. You're now down to $650,000. And let's assume there's no other, we'll just stay out of the minutia, no intricacies or adjustments other than that. Let's stick to that, okay? So the final taxable value is $650,000, okay? So now we'll find out what the millage rate is and how to multiply it. So 650,000 divided by 1,000 would bring us to 650. So it's 650 times the millage rate. So at unincorporated Palm Beach County, again, you have all these municipalities. I think there's 31 municipalities in Palm Beach County. So I'm going to take unincorporated for Palm Beach County. The unincorporated millage rate as of this video is 22.34. So 650 times 22.34, that means you pay $22.34 for every $1,000 of value, and you multiply those together and you come out with $14,521. So if you bought a property and it was assessed at $700,000, you homesteaded that property at $650,000, and you were purchasing in unincorporated Palm Beach County, which is a substantial part of Palm Beach County, your taxes on that property would be approximately $14,521. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, question number 3. How can I save money on my property taxes? This is an important question, so I'm glad you hung in there to the end for this. So property taxes, the very first thing you can do is pay them early. When the property tax bill comes out, you have until March 31st of the next year to pay them. So if you pay them early, the property tax office is going to give you a discount. If you pay them before November 30th, you get a 4% discount. If you pay them before January 1st, you get a 3% discount. If you pay them before January 31st, you get a 2% discount, a 1% discount by February 28th, and after that, you get to pay them in full by March 31st. When you reach April 1st, you're now late. Okay? So that's the first way to save money. The second way to save money on your property taxes would be to apply for an exemption, right? The most popular one is that homestead exemption that I mentioned. This applies when the home you're buying is your primary residence, okay? The homestead exemption is a $50,000 exemption, for just keeping it simple, off your assessed value. It comes also with a bonus where you get a 3% cap on your property taxes every year thereafter, as long as you keep it as your primary residence. So the values can go up, but your tax bill is capped at 3% per year going forward. But there are other exemptions besides the homestead. For instance, you have a widow or widower's exemption. You have disabled veterans, active duty military, civil disability, veterans over 65 with combat injuries. You have disabled law enforcement, first responders. You have a granny flat. Maybe you have a parent or grandparent living with you. There's an exemption for that. So there's a whole list of them. There's a lot more than that, but you can find those at the property appraiser website for Palm Beach County. There's a whole list of them. You get an application and apply for it. So I have 3 tips for you if you're a buyer moving to Palm Beach County. So these tips will help you manage your expectations and certainly make a smart financial decision. Tip number 1, if you're buying and you want to know what your future real estate taxes are, ask your real estate agent. Ask me. Hopefully I'm your real estate agent, but ask your agent to run a simulation on the property appraiser website to show you what the forecasted number will be. I've always found that when I do that for a client, that number tends to be pretty conservative because they're doing that based upon the price that you're putting in, not necessarily what the CAMA system is coming to for evaluation on the assessment. So it kind of gives you like worst case scenario. So that's tip number 1. ask for the projection from your realtor. Tip number 2, understand and challenge your property assessment. Just because you've been given a number from the property assessor's office in that first year of ownership, that doesn't mean you have to take it. Mistakes are made all the time. I've seen property appraisers miss bedrooms and bathrooms, list too many, have a wrong lot size, have the wrong square footage, have wrong upgrades. All of these things would be a reason to say, hey, like you've come to the wrong conclusion based upon wrong information. So that's important. So review the errors or review for potential errors in that. Another thing is to compare your assessment with other assessments for people in your community. People may have bought at different times and have different tax rates or tax bills, but the overall market value should be similar before exemptions are applied in your community. So be willing to compare, take the time to compare that. And that could really help you out as well. And the last one is in Palm Beach County, we have an appeal process. You actually go before a board that is independent from the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser's Office, and you can appeal to them if you feel like your property assessment is wrong. Doing it in that first year, the very first year you get that tax bill, is critical because that's setting the foundation for every future year of your taxes. When you homestead it, you want to homestead it at the lowest number possible. And by doing that, you're capped at 3% per year after that. You don't want to do it in year 2 or 3. So get it right the first year, be willing to appeal in that year. And then tip number 3 is to explore homestead and portability along with other exemptions. I mentioned some of these already. But certainly the homestead is a big savings. Portability, I haven't talked about yet. Portability is where if you already reside in the state of Florida and you are in a property that has been homesteaded and you've built up a savings, again, that 3% cap per year, and the assessed value and market value have a big disparity, you can take up to $500,000 of portability from your property in Florida to another property in Florida. So this could further reduce your tax bill, and then add those other exemptions on there that I mentioned. Look through that list. Granny flat if you're a disabled veteran. There's age things as well. So that would be my 3rd tip, is check into the homestead, the portability, and other exemptions on that property appraiser website. So if you're thinking about making that move to Palm Beach County, I want to help you make a smart real estate decision. You can call, you can text, you can do a message in a bottle, you can email me, or you can set up a Zoom call. Well, we'll get together and have a consultation, and that link is in that description below. So whether you're looking to buy in 9 days, 90 days, or your full term at 9 months, buying your first home, or you're buying that retirement home, I want to help you make a smart real estate decision. So I look forward to hopefully connecting with you soon. And again, if you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.